What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video. We're here for Shooting the Breeze number 13. Potentially the biggest episode of Shooting the Breeze thus far. Because not only do we have our Week 4 NFL predictions, but we also have a major NBA trade to go through. I'm looking down at my phone to triple check that it is Shooting the Breeze number 13 and not 12. It is 13. So, we'll get to my Week 4 predictions. We'll go over what I got right and wrong of NFL predictions. But we got some NBA stuff to talk about. It's been a hot minute since I discussed the NBA. We haven't really had any. I will say this. The offseason, there's definitely things you could talk about. But I just feel that this offseason was consumed by LeBron and Michael Jordan debates, which happens during the season, after the season, in the middle. It just constantly happens. Should the NBA champions be called the world champions? I hated that whole fiasco. I think it's long behind us. I hope it will come back towards the NBA finals, but I think that fiasco is behind us. And the FIBA World Cup, which I enjoyed watching, but I didn't really want to comment on stuff that I didn't feel like completely familiar with a lot of the things that were going on. And the other two topics involved the potential trades that we were waiting on. James Harden, who we're still waiting on, but we're not like in need for it. But this one we needed. The Damian Lillard trade. And as you can read in the title, he has been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. And it is very surprising. So I could have gave a live reaction video to it, but I opted to save it for this Shooting the Breeze. And it gives me a little bit more time to think about things, but it finally happened. We've waited a long time for this to happen. I got the Trailblazers hat on just for this occasion. Where should we start? We'll start with the actual trade. Milwaukee Bucks receive Damian Lillard. The Phoenix Suns receive Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nazir Little, and Keon Johnson. And the Portland Trailblazers receive Jrue Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Tamari Camara, who I believe is a second-round pick. I don't know how much he matters in the whole ordeal of this. A 2029 first-round pick and 2 pick swaps. I don't know. There's a lot that we can go through with discussing this whole thing. For Milwaukee, this is the main thing. This is the main thing I will say. And it's kind of an asshole take that I have, but I feel so bad for Jrue Holiday. Because he wanted to be in Milwaukee. I don't know many people that have like a bad thing to say about Jrue Holiday. So for seeing him get traded and like he was a key piece to the Milwaukee Bucks championship team, and then there you go, you're off the team situation. And I'll feel a lot better once we find out where he actually lands, but nobody wants to see him in Portland. We want to see him on a contending team. And it just kind of irks me a little bit because it just also proves loyalty means very, 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 very little in the NBA. And I know this is a long time ago, but before the playoffs this season, the 2023 playoffs, I had a rough draft of a video I was going to make. Talk about loyalty in the NBA. And essentially, it bowed down to Damian Lillard, who it just seems that we were talking so much about Damian Lillard. We're going to continue to talk so much about Damian Lillard. But essentially, like on the rough draft that I had, it was players that have been on the same team. So at that point, it was Udonis Haslem, which I don't even really know if you wanted to count him. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Marcus Smart, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Fort King Korkmaz. That's where and then I got to the 2015 draft, but that one doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But it's just like, if you notice all those guys, they brought a championship to their team, which was the Warriors core 3, and Giannis and Jokic, or Embiid, who is consistently considered to bring a championship to the team and finally brought an MVP to the team, or Marcus Smart, who we've been constantly saying is the heart and soul of the team. Guess what? He got traded. But essentially, I just think in the grand scheme of things, if you were not drafted by that team and or did not bring that team to a championship, they do not care. So in this case, it kind of is breaking a little, because Holiday obviously helped the Bucks win a championship, but he wasn't drafted by them. And I know Chris Middleton wasn't drafted by them, but he's been there since his sophomore year, I believe. So it just kind of feels like they don't even recognize that first year. He's always been there. So that's why I feel with Middleton they've kind of always cherished it a little bit more. But I understand it all. And like I said, I'll feel a lot better about it once Holiday is on an actual worthy team. Or I don't even want to say the Blazers aren't worthy. But again, I'm going to keep deflecting back to things I've said in the past. That way you don't have to go back and watch them. But if you want the receipts and proof of it, you can. But I made a whole video talk about the Trailblazers almost 7 months ago. And it was talk about the Trailblazers have a bright future once Damian Lillard's not there. And at this moment, I do think that still. But at the end of the day, what I was getting at, and it kind of predicted this whole offseason a little bit, there's not many teams that are going to be able to trade for him and Portland get a liable package back that helps and fits their team. And the main three that I was saying was the Toronto Raptors, who for about a day, everybody thought that's where he's going to be traded. I'm also kind of glad that we didn't see that happen because I don't think that's a title contending team, and I don't think that's an ideal situation for Dame just because we know so many players have problems in staying in Toronto. The Brooklyn Nets and the Minnesota Timberwolves are the other two teams that I was talking about. But now Phoenix got involved. And the main thing I was talking about in that video is I don't know where the hell Damian Lillard could get traded because a lot of teams have their point guards or just don't have that much to give up for Portland to get back. So I was trying to have both sides have a win-win situation. And I was dissecting it. It's very difficult. And I didn't want to dwell into three-team trades, which at this moment is a three-team trade, and can still extend. But I'm glad they got Ayton out of it. That is essentially what I'm getting at. Because, again, they're going to continue to add on to this once Jrue Holiday is traded. Hopefully he's traded. But getting Ayton back, you've moved off Nurkic, which I'm not the biggest Nurkic fan, and we'll talk about Phoenix, but we're going to talk about Portland at the moment. I'm glad they got Ayton out of it. So, as of this moment, the important players on the Blazers are Jrue Holiday, Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Matisse Thybulle, Chris Murray. I think what we're going to see at the start of this season, but minus Holiday, that could be a potential starting five. Have Simons at the shooting guard, Sharpe at small forward, even though I am someone that likes the player positions to be what they are. And I don't like changing it up. I know we're positionless basketball. I'm just very traditionalist when it comes to that. And it was just it's for me to fully grade this for the Blazers. I have to see what they get for Holiday. But right now, it's a good start considering for months and months and months we thought we were seeing them get Tyler Hero. And again, it would be a little bit worse of a situation because I don't know if you're getting back for Hero what you'd get back for Holiday, considering Holiday is a champion, two-time I was going to say multiple-time All-Star, but I'll just say two-time All-Star. You also got a former number one overall pick, Deandre Ayton, which again, kind of feels like it slipped on the radar. You moved off Nurkic, which like I said, I'm not the biggest Nurkic fan, but for Portland, I like where it's going, but before I can fully grasp it, I need to see a little bit more, but I do appreciate that they didn't settle for Tyler Hero and create a logjam, crap space. Crap space, it might be a little bit too harsh, but a logjam in their guard positions, because even now, we can still see that potentially happen, but I don't think it is the biggest deal because you're not committing a lot of money to Hero. The only guy out of your guards, because again, I'm fully imagining Holiday being off the team. Because I was also imagining whatever trade they did, I thought it would just be like that, and they wouldn't further extend it. But seeing Holiday hopefully traded, we don't have to worry about that problem. So for Portland, we'll come back down to them down the line when Holiday is traded. Speaking of Holiday getting traded, I did make a mini top 5 list of locations I'd like to see him get traded to, but I did not create the trade packages. But I went on Fanspo. There's definitely situations to where this can work. The Chicago Bulls at 5. The main reason I put the Bulls, their point guard position is kind of their position at question because we aren't seeing Lonzo Ball at all this season, and they're committed to this veteran core. It definitely is crazy to call Levine a veteran core, but he's been in the league since 2014 now. DeRozan, and Vucevic. So it most likely would have to be Lonzo, cap filler, and picks, which I don't think they have many picks to get Holiday, but it's just like, if you're really committed to those guys, this is the best way to do it. And for Portland, you're just taking the picks out of it. The reason it's at 5 is I don't think this is the least likely scenario. But it's just like starting 5-wise with Holiday involved, he very much brings what Lonzo brought to Chicago Bulls and made them a great team whenever he was playing. So that's why I have the Bulls at 5. At 4, the Miami Heat. I think storyline-wise, and not even like basketball-related stuff, is just like the Heat and Bucks are going to be linked together as long as Giannis and, to an extent, Jimmy Butler is playing. Because since Jimmy Butler has been with the Heat, these two teams have been linked. Because they eliminated the Bucks in the playoffs in the bubble 2020. All that year, we were hearing the Miami Heat were going to have a big free agent signing. They're going to have a big free agent signing. And we were just like questioning who the hell that was going to be. And everybody wanted to be Giannis. Everybody wanted to be Giannis. And then Giannis did not get that. Somebody else they really wanted to trade for is Jrue Holiday. Guess what? He got traded to Milwaukee. Then they faced off that next year in the playoffs, and the Bucks got their ultimate revenge by getting a sweep off on the Heat, and then ended up winning the title after. 2022, there's nothing really besides both teams getting eliminated by the Celtics. There's no connection. In 2023, these playoffs, the Heat have an ultimate upset and beating the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis didn't play, and I guess to an extent, you could say the Heat sent Jrue Holiday off the team. I guess you wouldn't like really stretch it, but it's just like now the best like thing that I saw out of this is like in one day, the Bucks killed the Heat's chances of getting Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is tough. T-U-F-F. That is just very tough. But if you really wanted to spice the story up, you add Jrue Holiday to the Heat. And again, it's just very much what the Blazers want out of us. Because I don't think the Heat, again, the Heat weren't giving up much to get Damian Lillard, who is a top tier, greatest player of all time. That is an exaggeration. But it's just like, that's how I've been seeing him be talked about for these past couple of months. But if they want to continue beefing up and making this storyline a bit spicier, Holiday to the Heat. It also just makes sense lineup-wise. 3, Sixers. He was there at the beginning of his career. The Sixers need some kind of savior. Him and Maxey fit well together. Harden could get sent to the Clippers. The main thing that I was seeing out of this is like, Harden could get sent to the Clippers, which is what he wants. Possible young players, salary cap, and Pitts could get sent to Portland. And then the Sixers get Holiday. It kind of is the same. It would more than likely be the same starting lineup. But instead of Harden being involved, it's Holiday, which defensively dramatically improves. Hopefully, Maxey could take like another step up scoring-wise. I'm very high on Tyrese Maxey. I don't think a lot of people are. But the Sixers need to do something. And especially because, again, something else that I saw is like, hey, Joel Embiid, Giannis has had twice now, like, dramatic moves turn out. And the first one was the Jrue Holiday trade, and that really worked. This Damian Lillard trade just happened. It will be contending and be further than what Joel Embiid's gotten to. Because he hasn't got past the second round. And I like taking that shot. But it's just like, at some point, if I'm Embiid, I'm getting a bit hesitant. I'm getting a bit frustrated, I guess is the best word to use. And if they were to get Holiday, I don't know if that really changes his feeling. But it definitely wouldn't hurt it. Number 2. Extreme wild card. And one that I don't see happening at all. But I made several videos talk about things I want to see happen in the offseason. We're a month away from the offseason being done completely. The preseason is about to start. And in one of those videos, I was talking about the Orlando Magic. I'm like, they have several point guards. I don't know if they have any proper shooting guards because a lot of their guards, like, out the top, they have Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and now Anthony Black. All of which, in my eyes, are more point guards than they are shooting guards, but they can play both of them. And it's kind of crazy, it's 4. And I'll throw Gary Harris in there. I know he's not a point guard, but he is a shooting guard. Small forward-wise, Franz Wagner, Wagner, I think I've kind of always say Wagner, but I just said Wagner, who, in the FIBA World Cup, everybody was gaslighting and saying he's the next big thing. I ain't going to hate on him. I do like Franz Wagner, but the main reason I was getting like, what the hell you talk about is because there's like people saying he should go number 1 overall in a 2021 redraft, and I just think that's a bit too much, but he definitely helps. And especially because he's not the guy on the Orlando Magic. The only guy on the Orlando Magic is Paolo Banchero. The number 1 pick, was the Rookie of the Year. He's the guy on that team. That's why I was getting at it. And then center, Wendell Carter, who definitely, like, when you're hyping up the Orlando Magic, he feels forgotten. He shouldn't really be. And then they have some workable contracts. What I'm getting at, number 2, I'm suggesting Jrue Holiday. I wanted the Orlando Magic to make a big move. Not really even a big move, but I was just like, I want to see them have a shooting guard because I'm like, small forward, power forward, center-wise, you're covered. Point guard, you've got 4 capable ones now. Because I was even saying that before there. You got 4 capable ones now, 2 of which you might not need. 3 you probably need. 1 you can get rid of. You have some workable contracts, mainly John Isaac. I don't know if any team wants to take a chance on John Isaac, but that's a possibility. But it's just like, with Holiday, he could play point or shooting guard, but he'd really help. He would take them, I'm not going to say to the next step as a leader, but he is a great veteran that they need. I know they signed Joe Ingles, but it's just like, veteran leadership-wise, I feel Holiday would exponentially help that because he has playoffs and championship experience. So I know this one's probably the least likely, but I wouldn't mind it because, especially I was saying earlier, I wanted to see them get a shooting guard, and they didn't really do that. They just added another point guard. And like I said, I know Holiday's been playing point guard, but he could play both. That's what I was getting at. But number 1 is kinda the same as the Magic, but they're more stepped up in their timeline. The Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets don't have their own picks because of the James Harden trade. They don't have any picks this season. They have 2 next. This is all off the top of my head. They have 2 next year, which is 25. They don't have any in 2024. And again, I might be wrong with this, but hopefully my memory serves me correct. But none in 2024, 2 in 2025, none in 2026, 3 in 2027, 2, maybe just 1 in 2028, and then 2, maybe 3 in 2029. So what I'm getting at is they have a couple picks that they can work with to trade. Again, they got salary filler. And lineup-wise, I would say if I'm Brooklyn, I'm keeping Claxton, who had just had a great year. Should have been in the DPOY conversation. He wouldn't be in Jaren out, but he at least put it in the conversation. Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a veteran, someone that every team would want to have a Dorian Finney-Smith. Mikal Bridges, who's still, if Holiday was on this team, Bridges is still the star of the team. I should have said Cam Johnson if we're going like lineup was, but Cam Johnson, then Mikal Bridges, then Jrue Holiday. So if you look at that, that means, you're either sending Dinwiddie out or Simmons out. That would be the beauty of it. If you're Portland, you get Dinwiddie and you get picks. You can flip Dinwiddie probably for 1 more pick and young guys. If you're Portland, I don't know if you want to take Simmons on. For Holiday, maybe. For Lillard, we obviously saw that was not an okay answer. But even, like I said, if you're Brooklyn, having Dinwiddie as a 6-man, which we know that he's thrived in the 6-man role. Ben Simmons, I know it's kind of crazy, someone getting paid so much money as a 6-man, but it's just like, me personally, I don't want to see Ben Simmons in the starting lineup with Claxton because I feel Claxton's kind of their solidified guy because he's been playing more consistently than Simmons. But it's just like lineup-wise, I just don't think that really works out that well. And even when they played together last year, I didn't think it worked out that well. But it's just like Simmons as the ultimate 6-man running the bench because they signed a lot of bench players. They signed Dennis Smith Jr., Lonnie Walker, and Darius Baisley. But like I was saying, like I know it's crazy to pay Ben Simmons all that money, but it's just like the Ben Simmons situation is a very fishy, interesting one that we can really dwell into to another time. But it's just like, also, Russ O'Neal. I know I was forgetting some player for the Nets. But it's just like, for Portland, you take on more assets to get more. For Holiday, you're getting to a team that you're speeding up their timeline because they can't and should not be tanking because they don't have their picks. I just think it really works out for all sides. And defensively, Holiday, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton together, I think it's great. So I would really like it if he was on the Nets. Also, I mainly got this idea from 6 Rings of Steel, but I kind of like broke it down a bit more. So hopefully we see Jrue Holiday traded by this weekend. That way I could feel a lot better about it. Because like I said, Jrue Holiday is one of the nicer guys in the league. One of the guys that is just like nobody freaking complains about. And to see him very much get done wrong, because he literally was quoted this week in saying that he wanted to stay a Buck for life. He loved Milwaukee. He helped them win a freaking title. He just kind of got done wrong out of nowhere. But hopefully it's a good ending to the story. And I like I said, Jrue Holiday on the Bucks, I would love that. But that's it, enough of the Jrue Holiday Blazers talk. Let's get to the other two teams. Phoenix. I'm going to be a hater. I'm really going to be a hater. I wanted to make a whole video talking about this, but I feel that I got a lot of NBA videos coming up, so I feel I can dwell into this a little bit at a time. But it's just like, Phoenix has a stacked big three. They committed a lot of money. Are committing a lot of money to their big three. I think they definitely can make it to the conference finals. It's just like, me personally, I just don't think this is a title team because I could see so much going wrong. Now, I will say this. My main argument for this, I had two main arguments. A, we don't know how the hell Deandre Ayton feels about this team. All of last year, we saw Deandre Ayton moping, be upset, and a lot of the tension we speculated was toward Monty Williams. And guess what? Monty Williams is not there anymore. So, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't had a chance to see it yet. Did Deandre Ayton still feel that way? Well, the front office kind of felt that way if they've been trying to trade him all off freaking season, and then eventually did trade him. But it's just, the second part of my argument is, this team, the Phoenix Suns, were in the finals 2 years ago. One guy on that finals team is still there. And I guess I'm not even really going to get into this argument a bit more, but it's just like, besides the big three, like, are any of those other guys better than the guys that you did have? That's a great debate to have. But like I said, I'm probably going to talk about this subject a lot down the line. But it's just like, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. Those guys excluded from that statement I just made. But Josh Okogie, Yusuf Nurkic, which like I said, Nurkic is good. I think the good thing that's going to benefit Nurkic compared to Ayton is Ayton, his nickname, Dominating. He probably wanted a chance to touch the ball and score. Nurkic, I don't feel is going to be that eager that Ayton would be. And stats-wise, they're probably put up the same, very identical. Not the same, but identical numbers. Damian Lee, Grayson Allen, which I'm a Grizzlies fan. Grayson Allen was on the Grizzlies for a couple years, which if he was still on the Grizzlies, we would 100% be stamped most hated team in the league. But again, he's very forgotten as a Grizzlies player. But the thing that I last remember about Grayson Allen is him dribbling out the clock in an elimination game and not even getting a freaking shot up. It's going to be very difficult for me to like erase that memory. But it's just like, if I was the Bucks, I wouldn't want him back. That's just how I felt about that. Eric Gordon, who I feel is the second most underrated pickup the Suns had this offseason. Nazir Little, who I like the potential of Nazir Little, but we just haven't seen much from him from Portland to be like, oh yes, he can be a contributor on a title team. Drew Eubanks, who I think is the first important player or free agent acquisition they had, because when Ayton was there, I'm like, Eubanks could, again, duplicate a lot of what Ayton does. And in this case, he could duplicate a lot of what Nurkic does. He was his freaking backup center last year in Portland. Again, I think that kind of adds up. Yuta Watanabe, Keita Bates-Diop, Bobo. Again, concerns I have with Phoenix. They still don't have a proper point guard. A lot of their guards that they have the potential to play point guard, but a lot of them benefit most at playing shooting guard. I don't know who their starting small forward / power forward is going to be, because you could play KD at either, but who's the other guy you're going to have there? As of this moment, I think it's going to be Josh Okogie, because he's been there the longest compared to the other guys and benefited them a lot in the playoffs defensively. But I don't know. Besides the Lakers, I don't know of many championship teams, again, of recent memory that added a lot through free agency and won the title. And even with the Lakers, a lot of their guys were there that year prior, and they were also playing with LeBron and AD. And again, with this argument, you're playing with Booker and Durant. It's two duos that should be very similar, but because we already saw what AD and LeBron did, They're higher. This is Booker and Durant. I'll say this for Phoenix. Devin Booker was playing lights out in those 2 home games in the second round. That, I feel, is, if they have the championship potential, we're going to have to see that 4 times. We're going to have to see that 4 times, which obviously the main reason I'm saying that is because you have to do that 4 times, and that would contribute to you winning the series. I don't know if that's possible, because that was utterly unhuman-like things. And him doing that twice, both of the home games in the second round, was crazy stuff. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that again. I'm not going to doubt it. It's going to be a wait and see. But like I said, I can dwell and talk a lot about the Phoenix Suns, but it's just like, I think the main thing I'll say for the Suns, you kind of got rid of the DeAndre Ayton possibility, because I think there's a lot more negative with Ayton still being a Sun than not. And you got somebody in Jusuf Nurkic who's probably, stats-wise, going to produce very similar to what Ayton, while also adding guys that would really help your bench. I know a lot of people are like, no, the Phoenix did good. Phoenix did good because they had a lot of bench potential. So it's again, a wait-and-see situation. But I am just been like somebody that's not that high on the Suns. I think the Suns are going to be a dangerous team. I don't know if they're going to win the titles. But again, we could talk more about that down the line. But I gave my thoughts on them involved in this trade. With the Bucks, last but not least, the main team. I don't know why it took so long to get to them. They don't have that much depth. They have, and again, I don't know what their starting lineup is going to be. The one I wrote down is Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's a joke, Brook Lopez, Bojan Beauchamp, Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder, Bobby Portis. Don't really have a backup point guard, at least a veteran-wise, and I should have, again, looked up who's a liable person that they could sign. And I don't really want to see them make any more trades because it would gut their roster. Because I don't think any team's just going to be giving up veteran players at this point without the season starting. So I don't see another trade happening for them. I did see the stat from ESPN. This is the first time since Jerry West and Elgin Baylor that a team would be adding a 30-point per game score to another 30-point per game scorer in Lillard and Giannis. Offensively, this duo has a lot of potential. And I'll compare it to what I said about the Kyrie and Luka duo. The main reason I was like, I think the Kyrie and Luka duo could work is like, who the hell's guarding both those guys at the same time? And this one really is the case because you can't put way too much attention to Giannis, because Lillard could be freaking standing nowhere near your ass, nowhere near the goal, and still make that. So, I think offensively, this duo has a lot of potential. Obviously, defensively, it goes a bit down, but you have a former Defensive Player of the Year in Giannis. You have a runner-up in Brook Lopez. I don't think defensively it's going to be that big of a drop. I had a burp. I don't think it will be. So, and the main thing is like, you gave up Jrue, you didn't give up much. Because, again, you hypothetically swapped Holiday for Lillard. The picks in this situation, I know it's a long time from now, so we'll have to worry about that 6 years from now. When that's the case, I don't think the picks matter. I just really don't. And Grayson Allen, you heard my thoughts on him. Like, the way he played in those playoffs last year, I wouldn't even want him on the team. So, it's very much, can you add 1 to 2 more players on this team that can really help you out? That's kind of the main concern for Milwaukee, but I ain't got much to complain about. Besides them doing Jrue Holiday wrong, I ain't got really much to complain about for them, but they're definitely very dangerous, and it's something that I'll have to think a lot more about because I haven't thought about it at all right now on who's the better big three between Lillard, Middleton, and Giannis, or Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis. I'd probably lean more towards the Bucks one. And again, I think the Bucks-Celtics debate is going to pick up a lot. I don't know, it's just also at the other teams in the East. I'm trying to think. Out of the teams in the East that were in the playoffs last year, who's the freaking first seed? It was the Bucks. The Bucks. I keep thinking the Bucks were the 2 seed, but they're the first seed. Bucks were the 2 seed. This is the team that we're talking about. The 2 seed was the Celtics. It's the other team we've been talking about. 3 seed was Sixers. Sixers are kind of crapping themselves. I'll say the Sixers have had a lot of good free agency pickups with Kelly Oubre and Patrick Beverley off the top of my head. I feel like I'm forgetting one. But they need to worry about that Harden situation. The 4 seed and the 5 seed were the Cavs and Knicks. The Cavs, it's just been a lot of talk about Donovan Mitchell. I hope we see the Cavs stick together. And the Knicks, Jalen Brunson is a great player. Julius Randle sometimes is a good player. I don't know if the Knicks are coming anywhere close near the Celtics and Bucks. We're going to have to wait and see. 6 seed, Nets. Hey, ring up Jrue Holiday. Ring up Portland. Please do that for me. Please. 7th seed was the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know really how to feel about the Atlanta. I'm not very high on the Atlanta Hawks. But last but not least, the Miami Heat, who, out of this day, became the biggest losers because they thought they had Damian Lillard in their grasp and was possible without giving up much. And that just wasn't the case. Now they're essentially going to run this. You can't even say the same team back that they did last year because Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, who are 2 contributing parts of their finals team, are not there. And as of this moment, they have not replaced. And I know that both those guys are undrafted, not highly touted guys, but it's just when they were involved in the finals, that didn't matter because they had several years' experience under their belt. You just can't do that and expect to compete this year. So, the Heat are big losers on this day. And this is, my eyes are itching. Allergies freaking start acting up. But, like I said, I'm going to make a lot more NBA videos in the coming month. The NBA season's coming up. Making more videos. One of these videos are going to be my award predictions. And not only am I going to do NBA awards, but I'm going to do my own awards and see at the end of the year, was I right about these things? And one of these awards I created last year and had thought up in my head. The team I will not be watching. And last year's team was the Phoenix Suns. Because before the trade deadline, my exact wording was, until this team makes some type of trade, I am not watching that because Devin Booker and Chris Paul were hurt for a period of time, and Mikal Bridges was not breaking out like he did. He wasn't breaking out in Phoenix like he did in Brooklyn, and I was just they had so many national TV games. I'm like, a lot of the games are blowouts and not worth paying attention to. So I was like, until this team makes a trade, I am not watching them. And then they obviously made a big trade and got Kevin Durant. So in this case, this year's runner, the lead vote getter, is Miami Heat. Because I like Jimmy Butler. I like Bam Adebayo. I don't really want to see this team play until some type of change is made. So, we got 32 minutes worth of NBA talk. Let's go right through, talk about the NFL. Let's go to my Week 3 predictions. I believe, off the top of my head, I went 11 for 16 because I already wrote these out. So, going over last week's results very quickly. I predicted the 49ers to beat the Giants. They did. Lions to beat the Falcons. They did. Chargers to beat the Vikings. I'll admit this. I expected the Vikings, fan base to, have a full-blown meltdown. And I'm a Packers fan, so I feel that if that was the case, I would have seen a lot of that get shared. I think that was the case, but they are 0-3. There should be a little bit worry there. Speaking of the Packers, they came back and won after being down 17-0, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. So I got that right. So far, we got our first 4 right. Jaguars lost to the Texans. I'm going to give credit to the Texans. I think a lot of people think they are the worst team in the league, and C.J. Stroud, as a rookie, has looked great thus far and got their first win over the Jaguars, who, again, are a team that a lot of people expected them to be good. So that was my first one wrong. Broncos and Dolphins. I was extremely right about this because the Dolphins won by freaking 50 points. Titans and Browns. Hometown bias got to me again because I picked the Titans. The Browns won soundly. Bills and Commanders. I got right. The Bills won. Colts and Ravens. I'll give credit to the Colts. They fought hard and won in overtime. And I think the Ravens are a very good team. So it definitely sucks for them to lose. Patriots and Jets. Got that right. Panthers and Seahawks. Got that right. Picked the Seahawks. Chiefs and Bears. Chiefs won. Cowboys and Cardinals. Same thing that I'll say about the Texans. A lot of people think the Cardinals are the worst team in the league. They got a lot of good players on their team. I'll give credit to Josh Dobbs for keeping them afloat. I always give credit to the quarterback, obviously, but I'll give them a lot of credit because the Cowboys are supposed to be this top-tier team, and a lot of people don't think they took the Cardinals serious, and the Cardinals are making them pay. So, credit to the Cardinals. Steelers and Raiders. I picked the Raiders. Devontae bias got to me, but I don't know how much longer they'll be getting to me. Then the 2 Monday night games, the Eagles beat the Buccaneers and the Bengals beat the Rams. So I went 11 for 16. So week 1, I'm triple checking this because I believe last week when I said, all right, week 1, I went 10 for 16. Week 11, week 11 because it was shooting the breeze number, but week 2, I went 9 for 16. And then last week, I went 11 for 16. So thus far, it's a up and down slope. So let's get to these week 4 predictions. Lions at Packers. And I triple checked these are the correct locations because last week I was like, I didn't check on it. I just wrote down verses. So the locations are set. Lions at Packers, the Thursday night game. I will be up early to watch it. It's 7 o'clock, but I'm excited for this game because Lions gave us our worst loss last year. Essentially sent Aaron Rodgers back. I know I said that earlier about Jrue Holiday, so I had to make the same is that hyperbole or simile? You get metaphor. I don't know. You get the point. I'm picking the Packers. As you know, I don't really go in depth with why I'm picking the Packers, but I'm going to hope to God that we win. Next, Falcons at Jaguars, but this game is the Toy Story game and the game that is in London. And I don't know why the hell the Jaguars are playing back-to-back weeks in London. My biggest question is, are they staying in London a whole week plus? Because I think if I was a Jaguar player, I'd be a bit nuts insane about it. And I don't know why the hell they're playing 2 games in London. Maybe Tony Khan has something to do with that. But Falcons at Jaguars. The Falcons are a better team than I give them credit for, but the Jaguars need this win. If they don't, because they're playing the Bills next week, which I'd more than likely pick the Bills. So the Jaguars need this win to at least be 2-2. Rams at Colts, I feel is a coin flip because the Rams' offense against the Bengals didn't look stellar. And the Colts without Anthony Richardson, which I don't know if this is with Anthony Richardson playing this week, the Colts still look decent without him. So this, I feel, is a coin flip. I'm going to pick the Rams. If the Colts win, I'll give them credit next week, but I'm going to pick the Rams. Also, fantasy-wise, I have not made a football video update in a minute. I will. I've proposed several trades in both leagues. And no, if you reject a trade, that is fine. On the ESPN, I am dwelling into a different shift here. The ESPN trade machine, they give you a grade. Anytime I propose a trade, I'm making sure I'm getting players that I want back, obviously, but I always make sure the other person is getting the better grade. I don't know why the hell no one's... if you decline my trade, that is fine. Sometimes I even put, hey, let's negotiate. Counter off of this. Almost every time that I do that, they try to get Travis Kelce off of me. So that's why I quit saying that. Sound like Taylor Swift. But again, I'm trying to hype up the Rams because Cooper Kupp, the rumor is, he's supposed to come back next week. That is the plan right now. I'm hoping that he's safe. I'm hoping that he's healthy. But I'd love to see Cooper Kupp back out on that field and make my fantasy team a little bit more special. But more so, I want to see him back out there playing because I actually enjoy watching Cooper Kupp. So, picking the Rams. I'm trying to hype the Rams up. Next, Ravens at Browns. I'm going to hope the Ravens come out with a fire in their eye after several chances they could have won against the Colts, and hopefully they just come out and take care of business. But the Browns' defense has been top in the league, so this is an interesting game to watch. Yeah. All right, I was going to say this is the most interesting game to watch Sunday, but I saw another one that overtakes that. Vikings at Panthers. I know the Panthers are a younger team. The Vikings need this win. You can't go, both. It's also weird that all 4 teams that are 0-4 are facing off against each other. So, unless there's a tie, there's going to be 2 0-4 teams left. But it's just the Vikings needed a bit more. You were in the playoffs last year. The Panthers literally traded for the number 1 pick. Timeline-wise, trajectory-wise, you understand. Vikings need this. Bengals at Titans. The Titans did not look that good last week. The Bengals had their struggles with Burrow. And I don't need to say struggles. He's hurt. He's literally hurt playing out there. I'll say the Bengals, and hope they can keep their momentum going. Buccaneers at Saints. Derek Carr's out. Jameis Winston is in what many are calling a revenge game. I think this game is very much a coin flip. I'm going to pick the Saints because A, it's at New Orleans, and B, I think Jameis is going to take this game serious and not be sloppy, and also, I'm pretty sure the Saints, besides in the playoffs, have done very well against the Buccaneers, so I'm picking the Saints. Dolphins at Bills will be the game to watch Sunday, the hype anticipated game. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. They beat the Bills last year. They didn't beat them at home last year. But the Dolphins are such a freaking roll right now. And until they lose, I think I'm going to continually pick them. But the Dolphins are such a freaking roll. And the Bills, I'm glad they cleaned it up after what happened week 1. So we shall see. Broncos at Bears. The other two 0-4 teams. I'm picking the Broncos because I feel both sides on offense and defense, they have the more veteran and kind of better players out there. It's just going to be very much, in my opinion, if Justin Fields goes back to running the ball and if teams are like, oh, we're going to try to slow him running down, that's when he starts passing and is efficient passing it. But like I said, I think the Broncos have more compared to the Bears. Might be wrong. Both teams are 0-3 right now. Like, who the hell? What do I know? Commanders at Eagles. Same thing that I said about the Dolphins. Until I see the Eagles lose, I'm going to continuously pick them. Steelers at Texans. The Steelers, again, they've cleaned it up since week 1. I gave the Texans a lot of praise earlier, but I kind of just neglected all that right there. Raiders at Chargers. This will be a game. I'm always excited to watch these two teams play, especially since Devontae is involved. But I'm going to pick the Chargers because the Raiders have a lot of I guess they don't have a lot of mojo going for them. And hopefully the Chargers, I don't know. The Chargers, I said this early on. I'm like, the Chargers on paper have such a great team. I just don't know when they're going to put it all together. And this year, it's just been another freaking case of that. I don't know when the hell that team's going to put it all together. Hopefully they can do that. And if they got back-to-back wins, the momentum keeps rolling. I don't know who they're playing next week, so that's why I'm not going to try to hype them up that much. Cardinals at 49ers. Hopefully the 49ers don't do what the Cowboys did and not take the Cardinals seriously. So I'm going to pick the 49ers. Patriots at Cowboys. I'm going to hope the Cowboys, again, have a fire under them and upset that they lost last week. So I'm going to pick the Cowboys. Chiefs at Jets. Bold prediction. I think this is the last time we're going to see Zach Wilson start. The Chiefs defense dominated the Bears last week. And Zach Wilson has been very sloppy. I'm picking the Chiefs. They just won the Super Bowl. They've won their 2 games with Travis Kelce. I'm picking the Chiefs, but it's just like week 1. I understood like not going nuts about Zach Wilson because he was not expected to play. He was expected to sit on the bench and watch Aaron Rodgers play and learn from Aaron Rodgers. 4 plays in, that got ruined. So getting like thrusted into that situation week 1, I would probably be crapping my pants too. Week 2, who'd they play? They played the Cowboys, who, for week 1 and week 2, the Cowboys had such a dominating defense, dominating defense. Dominating defense, I can understand him crapping his pants there, but, you did get drafted in the number 2 pick. We can't have this. We can't have this. Last week against the Patriots, he's always struggling against the Patriots, but it's just like, it did not help that your first 3 games, technically 4 games, are against juggernauts. The Bills, who are a good team, I can't really call them a juggernaut, but compared, I think so. Cowboys, their defense is so dominant. Patriots, I don't even say that they're a juggernaut, but they have such a long streak against the Jets. They didn't really have a chance. But I think a lot of people are going to be way frustrated if we come out of this game, the Jets lose, and Zach Wilson has a crappy game, which I just think all the 2 things I just said are going to come true. They're going to be ready to see a change. So, I'm picking the Chiefs definitely. But my bold prediction this week is the last time we see Zach Wilson start. Unless an injury happens. I don't know who the hell the Jets quarterback's going to be. Maybe I'll save that for next week. Last game to predict. Seahawks at Giants. I'm picking the Seahawks. I say this several times. Every time I pick the Seahawks, they lose. Anytime I don't pick them, they win. Now, I didn't say any of that last week, and they won. So, hopefully that momentum can keep going. But it's just like, I ain't seen much from the Giants this year to impress me. The Seahawks had a good win against the Panthers, so hopefully that continues. But will no longer continue this episode of Shooting the Breeze. This is a very, very long episode, but we had a freaking lot to talk about, and we got a lot to talk about over the next couple of days and even weeks. Tomorrow, Friday, ROH TV review, as always. I saw the card for it. You got a return of a Ring of Honor legend. Won't go much further than that. Saturday, AEW Wrestle Dream predictions. Yes, I'm trying to think. I know I'm forgetting something. Yesterday, Green Bay Packers franchise mode continuation. I believe it was part 6, maybe part 5, but it was week 14, 15, and 16. We got 2 more weeks left, and then we're off to the playoffs in the franchise mode. I'm going to take a break Saturday and Sunday because Monday we're hitting the head, doing more videos. I have to do a How I Predict Full Gear video, continuation of the Packers franchise, another Shooting the Breeze, another ROH TV review, and like I said, once October hits, more NBA videos will be coming back. This is kind of the start of it, but we'll see what we see. So hopefully everybody takes care. I can go and stretch my legs and finish my water with electrolytes. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Also, P.S. A lot of times I struggle. I hopefully don't sound like an idiot. I should have said this before I said the outro. A lot of times I struggle and had to read tape and just go over oh my God, I hated this. One take. This took one take. I pushed start. I completely went through it without messing up and having to restart it. There we go. There you go, AHS. So, again, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See you when I see you.